please record the meeting. Also, Pam, if you could start off and just take roll calls, that would be great.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yes.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Cheryl Cronin,
Present.
Ben Bradley,
Present.
Linda Docina Fori,
Present.
John Heiler,
Present.
and David Leonard.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. We've got a good agenda today. The first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the November 5th, 2020 meeting. Can I get a motion? If anybody doesn't have any edits or changes, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So
So moved.
Second,
Aye.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Great. Motion passed. Approve the minutes. Next up, we have Baba on the agenda, but I will take care of this. We're going to review our nominations of the trustees for the offices of the board going forward, which we will vote on in the March meeting. And I'd just like to give out those names. And David, please feel free to discuss any of them after I mention the names that we have nominated to the board. We have 5 new members joining. Navjeet Ball, Joe Berman, Joyce Lenahan, Mike Rush, and Christian Westra. And with that, that will give us a full slate at the board and fill out the board nicely. I think they're a phenomenally talented group of people that will really help and strengthen the board, and we'll be able to discuss much further as we go through the process to the March meeting. Bob and David and the team have worked really hard on making sure we have the board with the right members to take it forward. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to add additional trustees to the board. With that, David, I'd love to have you speak briefly about it.
Yeah, we were very pleased as an administration to see this list of names come together, which really is a combination of intentions that the board had expressed, as well as additional nominations made directly by the mayor. In particular, I would call out that the appointment of Joe Berman and the appointment of Christian Westra represent our move towards closer working relationships with 2 of our affiliates, the Leventhal Map and Education Center and the Associates of the Boston Public Library. Of course, Jeff Hawkins, as chair of the fund, was already appointed as a trustee, and so the fund remains our primary and principal fundraising and development philanthropic partner. But in appointing these 2 members to the board, we're signaling an even closer working relationship with these affiliates, which will be under the joint leadership of myself and Paula Seiki in the long run. The nominations to the board represent a broad range of interests, and we're also particularly happy to see an increasing relationship at the state level. And certainly Senator Mike Rush has been a long-term advocate for funding for the library from the state, specifically for the Library for the Commonwealth program. Joyce Lenahan is no stranger to any of us, and Navjeet Bal also brings a background in the social finance world, as well as herself being a former state commissioner of revenue. Pamela has done a great job of pulling detailed bios together from all of the new nominees, and we will be sharing those with you and in a press release later today, so that there'll be more information available that way. I would note that we had 4 vacancies that had not been filled since the board had been expanded due to, among others, Chairman Gallery's work to
Yeah.
move the institution forward. And the fifth spot is, of course, and somewhat sadly caused by his departure from the role. Although, John, I noticed that he is with us today.
Yes, so with Bob, I think we're going to have our March meeting, and I'd love to get into a lot more detail, Mr. Chairman, because it's been a phenomenal experience. As we all know, Bob is stepping down. We have one point of business, that is to nominate and vote on Priscilla Douglas, and then I would love for Bob to just take a moment and talk to us a little bit. If you wouldn't mind, Bob, I know I'm catching you off guard a little bit here, but I think it is important, especially for this committee. And these nominations show kind of the hard work that you have put in. The way the association, everything is just tied together has been remarkable, of what you've been able to accomplish. And we're gonna miss you. But with that, I think we're making a phenomenal transition, and it's wonderful to be able to mention that we have a nomination for our new chairman that we will vote on, and that is Priscilla Douglas. And Priscilla happens to be on the call as well. So we do need to take a vote, but before I do that, I would love to just hand it off to Bob and then have Priscilla make a comment, and then we'll vote, and for her to be voted on at the full board, nominate her for the full board vote. So Bob, please.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. And Linda, of the people on the call, as it turns out, you're the only one I didn't get to talk to yesterday. So I apologize for that. As David's note said, timing sort of unfolded pretty rapidly given the mayor's confirmation hearing timing. So John, thank you. This has been an amazing 5+ years for me. But as I've shared with, starting with David in the first place after the mayor, with the mayor's transition, it just seemed like a good time for me to assess where I was personally in terms of the library. As you all remember, he had specifically, well, he'd asked each of us, as it turns out, in course, except for a couple like Evelyn, who were here before. But I just felt that it was a good time for a transition, and I couldn't be happier that Priscilla will take it forward. But I'm very proud of what all of you have done. I mean, I was thinking about it this morning. There wasn't really even a nominating governance committee. This committee didn't really even exist. Sort of Paul in his best day on his own, trying to do this with a little help from a couple others. But we've come a long way in terms of governance structure in the last 5 years, changing the number of trustees, and for all the reasons that we all sought to do that. It seems to me really appropriate that we're able now, today, literally, to have Joe and Christian join us. It does close a loop that, again, we started conversations about almost 5 years ago, and we just have an amazing group of leaders to take the trustees forward. As I've shared with many of you, to Paula's, now she has to deal with me, but I'm going to stay on the fund board as long as they'll have me. So I'm not leaving the library. I'll just continue to try to focus on garnering more support for the place if I can help in some small way. So
Well, Bob,
to all of you, it's been an honor to work with you. Every single one of you. A couple of you I knew before. What's that? So anyway, thank you all very much. I really appreciate it's been an amazing time together, and I'm very honored to have been part of it.
John, can we want to say, like, can we take like 2 minutes and talk about?
Go right ahead. You know what? We talked about this. We'll do it at the main board, but I think you're right. I after that, I just think we all should have a moment to say something. I agree with you, Cheryl. So David, we're going to throw the agenda off and just move forward. So Cheryl, why don't you go first?
It's your meeting, Mr. Chairman.
I know that. I know, but you know, I'm going to miss you.
Maybe I should drop off right now then.
Please don't.
I just want to say, and I'm sure everybody feels this way, and I said this to Bob yesterday, he's been an amazing leader, a wonderful, wonderful chair and friend, and I will miss him so much, as I'm sure all of us will. So Bob, thank you for your incredible leadership. I've learned, frankly, just a lot from you about how to manage complex situations and how to be a leader of a diverse group of people. So I am just grateful for the opportunity to have worked with you.
Well, the feeling's mutual, but thank you very much. I appreciate that, Cheryl.
You really have done a great job, Bob. I'm just going to say, but you're not leaving. So I'm happy to hear that, right? So I'm happy that you're going
I'm
to.
not. As soon as we can get back into that building, we're all going to be in that building together. I promise you.
Very good. So I think it's wonderful because you did a great job in terms of the gala, right? In terms of helping to pull that together. And hopefully we're able to do that, more of that, as we really help in bringing in the resources so folks understand how important, BPL is, to us. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Linda. You'll hear from Paula in a little while. She and her team and the whole team really are making real strides despite the challenges we're all living through. And so I'm very optimistic about the future.
That's great.
Thank you, Linda.
I just like to second all of that, and Bob, tell you it's been a real pleasure working with you and getting to know you a bit. And you've really managed a diverse group well and shown us the way forward. And glad that you'll still be engaged with the fund to bring in some of that fat cat money that I know you'll get your hands on.
That's where Paula is. Paula and John are the ones that help on that side. Thank you, Ben. The feeling's mutual, Ben. I've enjoyed getting to know you and work with you a great deal. I still want to talk to you more about the post-election, but not today.
Well,
we're gonna try to make you cry, but when you came into the board meeting and said you were establishing this new governance and be more inclusive with, these other groups, my first thought was like, wow, good luck with that. And
we're still not all the way we want to be, but
you have really, with your approach, your collaboration, you have this inclusive thinking that inspires collaboration. And many times, I don't know if you guys know, I've gone to Bob as a personal advisor for my own profession, and I am so grateful for everything you've done.
Evelyn, don't be ridiculous. I again, coming into this role, some of us didn't really know, most of us didn't know one another. I didn't. And getting to know all of you has just been a joy. I have to say this, there is nobody on the trustees who works harder for the library than you do. The finance work that you and John and others do is, it's a lot of work, and your devotion to this place for so long has actually been very inspiring. So, and the other thing is, I'm really proud. I've said before, I think the trustees it's the most diverse group of leaders of a organization that I know of in the city or the Commonwealth. There may be others that are equally so. I'm very proud of how many different points of view this group brings to its work, and combining that with its passion, the library and its patrons benefit from it. So, and a lot of that I've learned from you in Zamawa and those who were really, going down this trail before John, before I got involved. So thank you for that.
Hey, this was about making you cry, not making me cry.
Well, I am already.
So, thank you, Bob.
Anybody else?
Thank you. Hey, John, your agenda, you need to move on, John.
Hey, Bob, really quickly before we move on.
Thank you all.
I do want to say one thing, and I think it is important. The stuff that David mentioned about working with the Leventhal Map Center, the associates, working with different organizations, working through the library. You had all the operational, the business acumen that we needed at that time to put in risk, compliance, governance. There's a whole list of things. And yeah, you had people helping, but it was really your guidance and your diligence toward being a very responsible chairman and making us even more responsible as trustees that allowed that to do that. And the thing that was remarkable about it, you did it with an amazing empathy and compassion for the different parts of the organization that you were talking to. You did it as a team, you did it as a partnership, and you did it as a friend. And I think that's the thing that's remarkable, that you had this combination of such amazing qualities. And it's been a real honor to have worked with you for the last 5 years.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. I know I remember the day I talked to you after the mayor asked me to do this. I think you were the happiest guy in Boston that day.
You have no idea.
You were trying to run this other for-profit organization at the same time, where I had a little more freedom than you did. But
Yeah.
I want to end this from my standpoint by really saluting David and Pamela, without whom the trustees don't get anything done. Pamela is the heart of that. And you talk about some of the governance stuff. None of that would have happened without Caroline as well. So, on Friday, as this was really starting to unfold, David let me have the opportunity to talk to the senior leadership group of the library. They're really the ones, obviously, that make all this work. And now in the case of the fund, Paula is part of both David's leadership team and running the fund. And again, that wasn't the case 5 years ago. So we're very blessed to have such a strong organization and to have, remember, again, when I started, I've been doing a lot of replay. David wasn't even full-time in his role at that point. And that was, if the trustees made one good decision in the last 5 years, it was at that meeting. We've only been able to move forward since then because of the team that David has put together and led. So I'm grateful to all of them.
Bob, I've had my opportunity to say a few words to you directly, but in this context, I would just thank you for your faith in my vision, ability, and potential to work with this team to get us to where we are. So I may have more remarks at the March meeting if Evelyn allows me, but at this point, thank you.
Thank you all, honestly.
Well said.
It's very moving and I'm very grateful.
Well said. Thank you, Bob, for everything. Now, with that, I would like to review our nominations and now put Priscilla Douglas up for nomination, become chairman of the Board of Trustees. And I'd like a motion to vote, unless we want some discussion. Priscilla, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Well, Priscilla, it's great to have you stepping into this role and transitioning. As you can see, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for the library. I think it's it's something that Bob, of all people, would who loves this library, thinks this is a fantastic thing as well, and such a great transition to have you as being nominated to become chair, which we'll vote on. And again, it's been a pleasure to get to know you over the last few years and really get engaged and involved. So I can't think of a better opportunity for us as trustees and a better opportunity for the library and the city to have you nominated to become our next chair. So again, thank you.
Well, I didn't get a chance to speak about Bob and the big shoulders, the work, the infrastructure, his compassion, his vision that has created and put the library in this position that we're in here today. When people ask me, when I got appointed to the board, one of my former students, Mary Lee Dunn, said, "Wait till you meet Bob Gallery." What a great guy. And when I'm out and about in town, I always comment that the library clearly is the best board that I've been associated with. As you can tell from the background here, this is not a Zoom fake background. This is my real library. And books, libraries have been the access to so many worlds, so many points of views, and being associated with a library which is free for all is the absolute best. I can't tell you how much time I've spent in the BPL and every library around the state. So it's an honor. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Priscilla, thank you. And thank you for stepping into this role. I'll reiterate again, what a great opportunity this is for the library. And it's just remarkable to have this type of talent and someone with your background to be able to step right in after someone of like Bob, who has been leading it. So again, it's going to be great. And really looking forward to getting to that board to finalize it at the trustees meeting. So with that, I would love to make a motion to nominate Priscilla Douglas to become the next chair of the Boston Public Library Board of Trustees.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. Now, Pam, do we have to take?
I'm sorry, John, can we do that via roll call?
Yes, of course we can. That's what I was just asking. Good.
Sorry, thank you.
No, please.
So in regards to the vote that John just proposed for the nomination for Priscilla Douglas as officer for chair, Ben Bradley,
Yes.
Cheryl Cronin,
Yes.
Linda Docina Fori,
Yes.
John Heiler,
Okay, yes.
and David Leonard.
I am fully in support of this nomination, but as I report to the Board of Trustees, out of an observance of any conflict of interest, I will abstain.
David, thank you for that. Correct. I apologize. All right.
So let it be noted, unanimous. Priscilla, again, this is wonderful and thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Something, and this is again, some of the things that have been worked on over the years that on the next agenda item that is really critical to the path of this library going forward and its relationship with the city. And I'm going to have David walk through it, but I think you saw the information that was sent out on the memorandum of understanding between the library and the city. These are the things that Bob, David, the team, the senior staff, the mayor's office have all worked on for a while to make sure that we have the right operating kind of agreement or construction going forward to make sure that this library is sustained for at least another 100 years of the quality and the things that we're doing now. And with that, David, I would love for you to walk through this memorandum of understanding between the trustees of the Boston Public Library and the city of Boston. And it's a big moment for the library and for the city.
Thanks, John. This is a document that the trustees had wanted to be in place. And we've really been working on this for about 3 to 4 years, particularly following the expansion of the board to 15, or the board seats to 15, and which we're now about to actually seat all 15 spaces. While I won't read the whole document into the record, it is attached to the packet and will be part of the minutes and available for anyone who would like to review it. The particular highlights are that this document, which has been signed by the mayor and will be co-signed by Evelyn as the acting chair now, presumably until the March meeting. So the key points are that it recognizes that the library is in partnership with the fund for raising additional funds. It specifically states, whereas such development activities are intended to supplement and not displace current budget lines. So all of the institutions are officially recognizing that that is the intent of private philanthropic contributions that are to be raised. And also it recognizes that the trustees will have a nominating role for any future vacancies that occur among the board of trustees. And so each of these things in their own way, while recognizing that the charter of the library and regulations in statute govern who we are in our relationship with the city, there are these 3 ways where the library has an amount of independence with respect to governance matters. And so I think we should be proud that This document enshrines that for future administrations and enables us to truly speak to the broader community with these understandings. And so we're thrilled to have this accomplished. And I too would like to just call out Caroline Driscoll and Pamela Carver, who I think were virtually running around City Hall, just trying to make sure this was one of the things that got done at what we expect will be the closing days of this administration. John, back to you. We're happy to take questions.
Yeah, please, any comments or questions? Yes.
John, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I have to say again, David's work on this, it's hard to understate how important this is to us, the trustees, and particularly to potential donors. When we went out to try to hit the reset button on the foundation, now the fund, was really important to people that, and I think this is true of the other affiliates, that it be acknowledged that private fundraising was important and would be additive, and between that and now codifying in a further way the addition of the trustees and the role of this committee, it's huge. This is a huge development, and so David, thank you again for your leadership, Pamela, Caroline, everybody. But to get this done is another, I think, another benchmark in terms of the progress we've made, and will help Paula and others do their job, long into the future.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks.
Please, any questions?
So this document then, combined with the initial memorandum with the associates and the renewed memorandum with the Map Center, both of which we intend to iterate in due course, gives us 3 of the 4. And Paula and I are working on finishing up the last piece of that, which would be formalizing the library's memorandum with the fund. We're close on drafts, but given that we now have a good year to 18 months of fund activity, we want to do one more piece of due diligence on ensuring that document, in concert with all of these, says all the things that it needs to. And so, this is a great milestone, I think, during the last days of Chairman Gallery's leadership of the board also. John, back to you.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any comments or questions for David on this? Oh, great. If not, I'd love to move forward and hand it off to Paula to talk about the update for the BPL fund, the name giving policy. I think this is a really critical aspect, even of the memorandum of understanding, is going after more private funding and trying to help support the library in a lot of different aspects. And I think one of the critical aspects for our success will be how we do with this balance between the library, the branches, but also getting the resources needed to continue to be the highest quality library in the world, delivering its services. And with that, Paula, a lot of responsibility and a big role, but I will hand it off to you because this is kind of the start of things much bigger and better for the library going forward.
Thanks, John, and good morning, everybody. And I just have to say that I'm thrilled to have Bob stay on the fund board. It's really been a joy and a pleasure, and looking forward to his continued support of my work and the work of the team. We have, I'll just give you a quick little update. We've been doing really, really well despite the pandemic. I think I'm in my 8th month, so have not really done this job outside of a pandemic. So, but we've been doing really well. We've acquired over 1,700 new donors just over the last, just with our fall appeal and a broad-based acquisition. So really exciting to see. We've raised over $4 million so far. So really on a great path to expanding private philanthropic investment for the Boston Public Library's key strategic priorities, which are vast. So we had a lot of good work around these areas such as youth engagement, the digital divide, some exciting work in our special collections, and workforce programming and development. But as part of that, within the fund, and Bob can speak to this, we've developed a lot of processes, procedures, and are also working on our governance structure. And one of the policies that I think really sort of is one that we have to look at from both board perspectives is our named giving policy, which is an important policy that every institution has. And there's policies in place at the city, and Carolyn can talk to this, and David, in terms of naming facilities, city facilities outside of philanthropic investment. But this is really focused on philanthropic investment and how we grow philanthropy and look at those opportunities to name physical spaces, but also endowed gifts and different opportunities like that. So this policy really helps to ensure that gifts with naming rights are managed in a consistent and transparent way and according to, established guidelines. And it allows us to provide donors with some equitable and consistent and appropriate recognition and stewardship for generous support. It's going to be important that we put this in place as we think about moving towards a capital campaign, in which we're going to be really focused on over the next few years in terms of opportunities to recognize our donors as they support that effort. So this outlines the types of gifts that may carry naming rights and suggested minimum gift levels, whether that be space or endowment. And one of the things that we are doing, we've conducted an audit of space in the Central Library, and we'll be working on a schedule of physical space naming opportunities like study rooms, reading rooms, tables, foyers, all the things that when you go into public libraries all over the place, New York Public Library, Brooklyn Public Library, they have these opportunities in place for donors. So that's what we're looking at. And I think what my hope is that we have your approval. Our board, the Boston Public Library Fund Board, has already approved this. So now it will go forward to the Boston Public Library Trustees to consider, I believe, at the March meeting, David. I'd be happy to answer any. Oh, go ahead, Dave, sorry.
Sorry, yes, the proposed MOU between the library and the fund calls for this named gift policy to be reviewed by the trustees and also approved by them in addition to the funds board. So we will need a vote to move this to the full board today.
Great.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, please. Well, with that, I'd like to make a motion to move this toward the full board. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Can I do
Aye.
a roll call?
Oh, yep, roll
John,
call.
I'm so sorry.
I know it's not your fault.
Ben
Mine.
Bradley,
Yes.
Cheryl Cronin,
Yes.
Linda Docina-Fori,
Yes.
and John Heiler.
Yes.
And I will omit you, David, for obvious reasons.
Great. I don't believe we have any new business on the agenda unless anybody from the trustees has anything they want to add or anything else. Well, with that, I'd like to now move Pam to public comment.
We only have one member that signed up for public comment. It's David Vieira.
Okay. David, please.
Jay will upgrade you to open your mic.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Chairman Gallery, thank you for your service. And I have no further comment.
Great. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Again, with that, a very important meeting we had today. Bob, again, thank you for everything. Priscilla, thank you. David, great work on getting the memorandum done with the city. I know how hard everybody's worked, but again, it's an important day in the library moving forward. And again, Bob, thank you for everything and look forward to continuing the dialogue with you and the fund board. And then Priscilla, again, thank you for stepping in and taking the lead on this for the trustees and look forward to our March meeting. With that, I'd love to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Right. Second, Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Be
See you
well. Be well.
The May meeting is on the 23rd,
meeting
so I'll
is
see you
meeting.
then. I'm sorry,
May
March meeting, March
March meeting, thank you.
Okay.
23rd.
Bye-bye now.
So.
Thanks.